Undersheriff Sherman Block appeared before the Board of Supervisors today. He presented the board with a written reply to citizens' complaints about some arrest practices. He said we live in violent times in a violent community. Block told the supervisors homicides have risen from 1,000 in 1975 to a projected 1,800 this year. Block was urged to make public disciplinary actions taken against deputies. He also rejected the suggestion that a civilian review board might be the answer.
I submit that the sheriff, as the only elected law enforcement head in the community, submits himself every 4 years to the ultimate review board, the people of this county who go in and cast their ballots.
Morning. You are Ann Davis. Would you
Yes.
give us your address, please?
Is it?
Undersheriff Sherman Block told the supervisors the department would not tolerate any deputy who showed a pattern of using excessive force or any other illegal means of carrying out his duty. He said the department did have to, and it would not tolerate it. Stan Chambers reporting from the Hall of Administration for News at 10.
We are living in times when the people in the community are unable to get along the country held in San Diego.
It was impossible for him to do so last week, and we welcome him today. Good morning. Would you join us, please?
And the sheriff is different than the police chief of the city, that he is an elected official. However, I would suggest that it might
Several of the community leaders who had accused the department of using unnecessary force and made the accusations before the board last month also appeared today.
On the rise of violence, I think that was an erroneous response to say because we live in a violent society, then officers have to be violent. Officers have more responsibility than the average citizens to this community. They carry guns, they can kill, they have the power to take our lives. We do not have that power legally.
Track for the supervisor sheriff story. Block was urged to make public and disciplinary actions taken. Pick up. Several of the community leaders who had accused the department of using unnecessary force and made the accusations before the board last month also appeared today.
Letters sent, able to contact by regular mail.
see one of the problems.
A letter issued to the public, which is a reply.
Public on page 13 on this 14-page report submitted to you.
We understand your point, and we would advise you that probably it's not within the power of the Board of Supervisors.
Yes.
Shouted profanities at the deputies, tried to incite the crowd which had gathered to watch the events, challenged a deputy to a fight, and so forth.
Mr. Schabarum, I'm glad that you raised that point. The Sheriff's Department has said on page 13, as Mr. Vasquez quoted, quote, "We have fully investigated each situation," in other words, the situation that you're referring to, "and each allegation in an honest, insightful attempt to find the truth." Mr. Schabarum, we know the members of the committee and this from the crowd, and they come before you who have, as Mr. Hahn pointed out in a former meeting with Johnny Cochran, the board has a supervisory role. Are you going to accept that, or are you going to carry it a step further?
Had you finished?
Testified. If they're on the list, they will be afraid that they will not get the job. And we want an open government, and we want you to be decided.
The sheriff has submitted to the Board of Supervisors a response to the specific allegations. So I am not prepared to deal further with those specifics. I am prepared, however, to discuss procedures and some of the general factors that I think must be considered if any valid evaluation is to be made of this overall discussion, which alleges a growing conflict between the community and law enforcement, specifically in this case, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I think it is important, a statistic that might appear to be a large number. 12,000 negative contacts within the community, because in the almost 25 years that I have been in the department, I have encountered few people who were pleased about being arrested. Add to the 112,000 arrests the fact that we process through the county jail in excess of 225,000 people a year go through the booking process. On any given day, we have 10,000 people in custody within our county jail system. Add to that the confrontations that occur in responding to disputes, family disputes, highly emotional conflict situations. I think that you will see that the figure of 269, which measures out to perhaps one complaint for about each 450 arrests, is not an indication at any degree that the department engages in any pattern of brutal activity. I think we must also recognize that within the last 2 years, in the area policed by the sheriff, murder has increased 25%. Forcible rape has increased 20%. Armed robbery has gone up 16%. Aggravated assault has gone up by approximately 10%. The point being that there is an ever-increasing level of violence in our community, and I think it is unrealistic to expect that with the growing violence in the community that there would be any lessening of violent confrontations between the men and women who are working the streets in law enforcement and violence-prone individuals within the community. We are sending these men and women into the community to do a job. They are trained. They are expected to do the best they can to get along with the people in the community. Unfortunately, for the calendar year 1978, there were 269 allegations of use of force, excessive force, registered with the department by citizens in the community. During that same period of 1978, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department effected more than 112,000 arrests. And I sincerely question the scope of this concern. As far as civilian review boards, we talk about a civilian review board comprised of representative elements within that they are either voting a vote of confidence or no confidence in the total operation of the sheriff's department and the sheriff based upon those experiences that they have had, those things that they read about in the media, those things that are discussed in wherever people get together. I think it is
Closure of the actions. Now, you say last year, let me ask you this, there were 269 complaints against officers, right?
269.
Okay, how many of those complaints led to disciplinary action against officers? How many officers were disciplined either by verbal, by suspension, by termination, by loss of pay? What disciplinary action was taken as a result of these 269 complaints?
And the nature of complaint, discipline running the gamut from reprimand to discharge would be about 10%.
Okay, now is it possible for you to share the discipline? I mean, just to follow up, you have an internal policy.
As put forth very much in the abstract. Let's take a look at these alternatives that the sheriff's report. 3 pages of citizens' names who have actually filed complaints against the sheriff's department in the year of 1979, just in the year of 1979. There are other agencies in the city as well as COPPA, such as the Greater Watts Justice Center, the Center for Law and Justice over in East LA, the ACLU, that have about the same amount of complaints that are filed against the sheriff's departments. And I would also like to add that if the board would like for us to bring these victims forth, we have the capabilities of doing that. If this board, the Los Angeles City Councilman David Cunningham, one of the cases...
The big question is, were these complaints investigated? Were they filed, and were they investigated, and were they told the result by the sheriff?
When the complaints are filed at the Coalition Against Police Abuse, they are also referred to the Sheriff's Department to file a complaint that will have an official significance as well. Case in point, one of the cases here that I have before me is Elton Satterwhite, who was viciously beaten, his whole face rearranged by the Sheriff's Department. The sheriffs filed charges on this young man of assault and battery on a police officer to cover...
Not of just the incidents that have taken place on the streets, but as Block Officer Block said, or Undersheriff Block said, is that when these officers are committing certain crimes in the street, they take them off the street. Well, 99% of those officers go into the county jails. So while the incidents are taken off the street, they're taken into the county jails. And from our witnesses, we have many people who know of atrocities in the county jails themselves who are afraid to say anything about them for fear of repercussion within the department. A violent attitude or disrespectful attitude or an attitude of walking into a jungle with savage beasts is a reflection of the things that we're talking about. And the thing of the...
You appear to be reading from...
Board demands that deputy sheriff's violence and unlawfulness be curbed. Remember, you ordered a full investigation. How can a full investigation be made when not one single witness was interviewed? And this is...
Comment?
Yes, it
and
is.
According to the district report, this is the same Mr. Vasquez who, according
Allegedly,
to the Sheriff's Department...
Sheriff's Department has not talked to one single solitary civilian witness to that incident, including the 4 members, eyewitnesses, who are mentioned in the report themselves: Thomas Loera, Henry Vasquez, Felix Vasquez, Irene Vasquez.
Well,
And this is-
the
this is-
4 people that you mentioned are the ones that are
Now
those who have alleged these...
The question is the board going to accept this report as being, as stated, a fully investigated report when the citizens of this community are telling you the truth? And Sheriff Block can come up and contradict us if he knows something that we don't know. The Sheriff's Department has told you they fully investigated, and they've concluded that Mr. Vasquez swore at the officers. They've concluded, based on their full investigation in an honest attempt to find the truth, that Mr. Vasquez attempted to cite a riot with the crowd. How many people in that crowd have the sheriff interviewed? The truth is, not one. Not one. Not only those 4 people, but not one person
in the boardroom, that if they're on a list, all of a sudden they'll be yanked off that list. It will bring fear to the community that there's not the possibilities of criticizing and